Hi, this is Annie Manning with Paint the Moon Photography, and I'm here to give you a quick tutorial on applying textures to your images. This is the image I'm going to work with today, and the first thing you'll need to do is just open the image you want to apply a texture to, and then find the texture that you want to work with. This is the one I'm going to use for today, and I am going to do a select all and a copy, and I am using shortcuts for a lot of things, so you won't be seeing me go to the menu items to do those commands, but you would do a select all here, a copy here, and then go back to your original image and do a paste. And then you want to do a transform, and I am going to just drag it in and squash it to fit my image, because I want to make sure I get the cool edges of this texture around my image. And most textures can be squished and distorted a bit without ruining any kind of effect. So I'm going to do that here and hit apply. And then I'm going to go over here and I am going to change my blending mode to overlay. And what you see here is it looks great on the background and so forth, and really horrible on her skin. So I am going to create a layer mask, and I'm going to go up to my mask panel up here. You can also create a layer mask here in your layer menu, reveal all, and you want to select your brush tool and make sure you have black for your paint color, and make sure your layer mask thumbnail is selected, and then just go ahead and paint on there. And I have my opacity set pretty low here, so I'm going to take that up to 100 and just start painting on where her skin is here. And we'll address the color change there in just a minute. I'm just painting really messy just to kind of show you how it's done. If I were actually doing this photo, I would zoom way in and get around the edges with a smaller brush and really do a really great job of it. And I'm going to, on the stuffed animals, I'm going to take my opacity of the brush down to about 55% and brush over those guys to take some of the texture off, but not all of it, and over the pillow and her pants, or jammies rather. And get rid of some of that texture on these guys. And that's looking a little bit better. And so after you go through all your masking and get it where you like it, if you mess up when you're painting on your mask layer, say I went, whoops, too far, I can switch my colors of my brush back to white and paint back, and it'll just come back there. So white reveals and black conceals on your layer mask. I'm going to show you a couple other things you can do. Just come over here to your texture layer and select the thumbnail for that layer, and you can use your hue saturation and take the saturation level down to bring the tone out. I like to do that on almost all of my textures, because if I want to be changing the tone of my photo, I like to do that on my own with different adjustment layers and so forth, rather than through a texture application. And so I'm taking the texture down to -65 here. And you see when I did that too, now her skin doesn't look gray compared to the background because the texture is not giving it that much color anymore. And so I'm going to click OK on that. Another thing you can do is open your levels, and you can make your texture darker or lighter. Slide this one over here. If you want to add just more contrast, bring both of those in. I'm just going to leave it where it's at right now though. And another thing you can do is change your blending modes. Most people I've found like overlay a lot for their textures, but I prefer on most of my images, sometimes I use overlay, but on most of my images I like to use soft light. It just gives it kind of a softer look. And so that's soft light there. And of course You can change your opacity, give it a harder, softer look here. This is overlay again. You can see the difference with our opacity up and down. And I'm going to change it back to soft light. You can also, some textures look okay with multiply. I haven't found a whole lot that look good with multiply. It gives a really, really drastic look. And you would definitely want to take your opacity down on those. I'm going to leave this one on soft light at 100%. And that's a pretty basic rundown of how to apply textures and adjust them a little bit. I'm going to do a second tutorial that shows you the 2 actions that come with all my texture collections, that they kind of just walk you through applying a texture, kind of holds your hand through it all, and then leaves you with a bunch of layers at the end that you can really quickly adjust to really finesse your texture and get it just right for the image that you're working on. As well as a second texture action that will remove the texture but keep the color and tone of the texture. So if you have a really warm texture that you apply and you mask off the skin, a lot of times it's going to, like you saw at the beginning, she's going to look really gray compared to the really warm texture in the background, and this action will remove the texture so you don't have the splotches and scratches and stuff over skin, but it'll keep the color tone consistent throughout the image. And so that will be in a second tutorial. Thank you.